Shareholder primacy is the idea that a firm has a number of stakeholders, and the question becomes, when there's money left over, whose money is it? So if you just go through the various stakeholders, customers buy a product. In order to provide that product, you need to pay your employees, you need to pay your suppliers for any raw materials, you need to pay any taxes, you need to pay your creditors, and whatever's left over is what we generally think of as going to the shareholders. In order to get all of those other stakeholders to participate, whether it's customers, employees, suppliers, etc., they have to realize value from that engagement. So the customer has to realize benefit from the product. The employee has to be paid at least what they can earn working somewhere else. The supplier has to cover their costs. But at the end of the day, if there's money left over, the idea is that it belongs to the shareholders. Why? Because the shareholders are the ones taking the risk. If the product fails, the employees still get paid. The supplier gets paid. The customer chooses whether or not to buy the product. The other stakeholders aren't bearing the residual risk. It is the shareholders that are. And so if it's the shareholders who are going to take the losses when the product fails, it's the shareholders that receive the benefits when the product succeeds. Another way to think about it is that prior to identifying the new product or service that you're going to provide, building the infrastructure that's going to be needed to provide it, hiring and training the employees that are then going to generate it, and purchasing the raw materials that are going to go into it, before any of that takes place, investors need to provide some money. And so the investors are putting up money up front for this venture that may or may not succeed. Since they're the ones making this upfront permanent investment from which they may receive nothing back, when things succeed, the argument is that they are the claimant to it. That doesn't mean you ignore other stakeholders. Those other stakeholders have to be compensated in a way that they are willing to participate. But what it means is that once you have sufficiently encouraged them to participate, any leftovers belong to the shareholders.